In 2007, we opened this auditorium and we doubled our square footage as a church. And one of the areas as we were going through the building project we began to discover is what it was going to do to our utility costs. And we were working with Lincoln Electric System and with our builders and architects as we were going through that whole process. And they began to talk to us about how they were going to reclassify the church now that our facility was so much bigger, and didn't really understand that. So in the midst of that situation, into the story comes a guy named Jim Hines. And in 2010, God brought Jim Hines onto our staff. Jim is one of these guys that this was a second life, staying alive kind of second career. He was willing to come on staff really for no salary, just to help us out in his retirement. And Jim immediately began to diagnose some things, not only here in E-Wing, but in our older buildings as well. And he began to talk to us and say, if we did some things to retrofit controls, if we did some things differently, we could probably get those costs down.
I discovered here at Berean that there were systems that would all run at the same time, which created an electrical peak that cost us money. Several of the parts of the building, early stages of the building, were pretty old, and the equipment in those buildings was wearing out. So we needed to find a way to replace them. We don't really have the capital laying around to replace these old systems. When we realized that there was an energy conservation component to replacing some of this equipment, we've discovered that Lincoln Electric System had a grant program that would help you pay for upgrading to more efficient equipment.
One by one, Jim began to get grant money to actually pay for the retrofitting of our building. Literally, Lincoln Electric System ended up paying over $165,000 in grant money to make our controls come up to date, to make us more energy efficient. And then Jim went after the big elephant in the room, and that was the large light and power. And Jim said, I'm working with LES, and they think we can get off of it if we just do these things to keep our energy below this usage. And he managed our controls, he managed our utilities, and he got us off of large light and power. Completely changed the game. Since Jim started doing energy management like this with these LES grants and all the retrofitting and the large light and power, we have seen our cost per square foot almost cut in half in what we're paying for energy. That's amazing.
The things we've done, the LED light bulbs and the demand limiting that saves energy every year, that will continue year after year after year. All the money we're saving, which would otherwise go to pay utility bills, can now be reused to perform more ministry.